Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
Any Revs UK. All things revolution from a UK perspective.
We are one with our strength, one with our hearts, one to England stand and scream. With you all the way until our dying day, revolution is our team. We are one with our
Right, hello everybody and welcome back. It's Any Revs UK here, all things New England Revolution from a UK perspective. I hope you're all keeping well, and yes, this is another podcast. I am trying to upload these a little bit more consistently than I have been. Do apologise for that. Just as a little bit of a side note, it's purely because I make YouTube videos as well, so that takes up a little bit of time. Plus, obviously, family life and real life gets in the way sometimes. But I am going to try and upload these as consistently as I can. Talking of YouTube, hopefully kind of towards the back end of this season, this year even, and the start of next year, we're producing a lot more of New England kind of based content around that anyway. But that's enough about that. We've come here to talk about, obviously, all things kind of New England Revolution. And it's, well, not the best time to be a Revs fan, I suppose, at the moment. We're coming back. I'm joining you off the back of 2 losses. We've played 2 games. We had a midweek game, obviously, against Minnesota, which is just not too long happened. And then we've also had the game against LA Galaxy as well. And we are going to be kind of dissecting both of these games in today's episode. And then looking forward, well, I don't know, I'll be looking forward to the game against New York Red Bulls, which is on Sunday for me, but I think it's on Saturday night for you guys, but it kind of rolls over onto Sunday morning for me over here in the UK. So yeah, lots to dissect, and I suppose let's start off by looking at the LA Galaxy game. A lot of talk obviously revolving around Zlatan, as you know, you would have happened. You know, he's a very high profile player. I think all Revolution fans knew that he wouldn't play, because not many of the big players do play at Foxborough because they're wussies and they think the turf will hurt their feet. I honestly don't know. Something's wrong with the turf. I don't like it, whatever, even though they're okay to play in Portland. And I'm pretty certain they use the same or similar turf. I don't know. But something about that their feet will hurt too much and they're not getting paid enough money. I don't know. Anyway, obviously it brought in a lot of people. I think LA Galaxy fans felt a little bit hard done by because, you know, and a lot of people who went to the game, the plastic fake fans, as such as some people might call them, to see Zlatan. And don't get me wrong, I can understand why, because, you know, if the same thing happened over in the UK, so say for example, if you are a Warsaw fan and Warsaw were playing against, you know, Real Madrid, then, you know, a lot more fans are going to come out to see Real Madrid play Warsaw at Warsaw's ground because you're watching a really good quality football team. I suppose in a way, yes, they are fake fans, plastic fans, whatever you want to call them. I think you guys call them European snobs or something like that over there. And yes, I get that. But at the same time, from a business perspective and from the Revolution's perspective, it's great because they're selling more tickets because people are coming to see Zlatan. And yes, obviously it may only happen one game, and it is annoying for the hardcores, but at the same time we're gaining extra great revenue. So that is a positive takeaway from it, and that's the one thing that I am going to be taking away from that. So, but let's dissect the game. So Brad put out a fairly strong team, I thought. You know, we had pretty much all, I think everyone kind of expected that lineup. The only one you're kind of always worried about now is maybe who plays on that attacking 3 right-hand side. He went with Juan Agudelo this time out. And to be fair, Juan didn't play too bad. It's not, you know, the level of kind of where we need him to be, but it's definitely a step in the right direction for that game. I think, you know, he gave a decent account of himself. Didn't really, you know, do too much wrong. I suppose in some aspects he didn't really do a massive amount, I wouldn't say right, but, you know, that was eye-catching, but he still gave, you know, a decent account of himself. I think he had like 85% pass succession as well, so pretty good for him. Obviously, we were hard. It was a hard game. It was going to be a hard game, full stop. But obviously to have, you know, Christian Pinilla, who's such an influential player on the game, be sent off in the 23rd minute, just made things just so much more trickier. But to be fair, the Revs rallied and they put in a really, really good performance. Obviously, Diego Fandungas grabbing the goal off with an assist from Casado. Obviously, before half time though, it kind of looked a bit wary because Pontius grabbed a goal back for Galaxy with an assist from an ex-English Premier League player in Ashley Cole. But from that point there, I thought the game was still fairly even. I thought that although we were playing with 10 men, it didn't feel like we were actually playing with 10 men. It did still feel like we had for a moment of the game, I actually kind of forgot that Pinilla had been sent off, and that's not because Pinilla's a bad player. Obviously, he's one of our standout players so far this season. It's because the mentality of the other players were just stepped up a little bit, and then obviously all that really decent footballing play and everything kind of paid off just before half time. A great time to score as well. Andrew Farrell with the assist for Casado this time round. In a game that's fair, I thought Andrew Farrell played really, really well, and a lot of the we should start Brandon By over Andrew Farrell people were probably being hushed then. I mean, I'm one of them. I've been saying quite a few times that, but not recently though. I've been on Andrew Farrell's side. He's been playing really, really well, and this is another game he had a really, really good performance. Then obviously second half started. We were put under a lot of pressure. I mean, to be fair, LA Galaxy had a lot of the ball, which is kind of to be expected. They got an extra man, but we kept them at bay, and I think they didn't really seem to cause us too many problems. Everything seemed to be going really, really well. We were still having opportunities, and then we brought on some fresh legs towards the end of the game. Obviously, with the fact that Ashley Cole got a red card, he got his marching orders in the 85th minute, and then we brought on a few players. Kind of, I think, with the mindset of, I think Brandon By came on, before they scored, thinking, fresh pair of legs, he's going to be able to kind of get the ball, run it down the wing, and hopefully, keep the ball and run the clock down, really. I suppose that might have been what we was thinking. We were 2-1 up, the victory almost seemed like it was assured, and then we conceded 2 goals in the space of a few minutes. Alessandrini with 2 assists, Romney for the first and Pontius for the second, and then we kind of rolled the dice and brought on Rowe and Nemeth, but it was obviously too little too late. I mean, for me, it was very disappointing to just look at all the hard work that basically we put into the game. It was a tough game. We played for 10 men for such a large amount of time, and then to throw away, we didn't actually come away with nothing. We didn't even get a point from that game. Then we actually, throughout this whole season, I've been saying, it's not the best football sometimes we play, but the fact that we grind out a result is still really, really good to see. It was the opposite. We completely, as soon as that first goal and we got it down to level peggings, went in, it was just, I don't know what happened. I mean, Annie Barbar, for me, I think he's been, a really, really good player for us so far this season. But I don't know what was him and Diana. I honestly don't know. I mean, I did really feel really sorry for Tony and Andrew Farrell, because they just were put in positions where they shouldn't have been put in and under pressure unnecessarily. And yeah, Diana and Annie Barbar, for me, just had a really, really poor time. Can we blame Matt Turner for any of them goals? I think it would be harsh in some aspects. I think obviously if the defence in front of him were better, none of that would have happened. I think for me, the standout player was Casado for me in that match. But yeah, it was a hard one to take, a bitter pill, and to say we didn't come out of anything, and it must have been so disheartening for the players. I think Brad's mentioned as of recently that he doesn't actually talk directly to the players. That kind of after the match is finished, he kind of lets them sit for a while, digest what's happened, and he said it's emotions are running wild, either you've won or lost. Sometimes, and that one must have been a really tough one for the players to take, because they've put in, most of them have put in their all for 90 odd minutes, and to think we're coming away with 3 points to be gone within minutes, and we walk away with nothing. Must have been especially for the players, like Casado played really, really well the whole game. Wolf didn't have his best game, but still a solid performance. Diego, as I said, Agudelo had a decent game. Andrew Farrell had a really good game as well, and Tony at the back as well. For them players, it must have been so disheartening, because they were just running their socks off constantly. And for me, I think that game needed injection of Scotty Caldwell, if I'm going to be perfectly honest, kind of towards the back end of the game. I do think that kind of around the 70th minute mark, I think Zebo off and Caldwell on would have been the ideal substitution, but obviously not the manager, unfortunately. But yeah, overall, my takes from the game were that Revolution just need to... There's too many lapses in concentration at the back for my liking. We need a defender. I asked him in my last podcast about footballing wise, Jeff Cameron, yes or no. Nothing outside that. Not that if the fact that he sports Trump or anything. Don't even take into consideration what would happen in the dressing room. As a football or soccer player, is he good enough for the Revolution team? Take that only that into account. Because I think at the moment we are possibly looking like we need somebody to come in and shore up the back line, because it's a little bit sketchy at time. We then obviously moved on to our Thursday game against Minnesota. Again, a game we've walked away with absolutely nothing. Coming up obviously against Bobby Shuttleworth in goal this time round, and he was on form, wasn't he? He put in a really, really good performance for Minnesota, which was obviously very annoying for us. Looking at the lineup, obviously some key players missing from the game, so a reshuffled back line. Had Somi in, Annie Barbar, Andrew Farrell playing centre back, and then Brandon By brought in at the right back slot. We had Zahibo and Caldwell sitting in the midfield. In front of them we had Agadello on the right, Callum Rowe on the left, Diego sitting behind Teal Bunbury. Obviously it's quite nice to see some of them players brought in that may not be getting starts as of recently. Obviously not the kind of right reasons why I'd be bringing them on because of suspensions and stuff. It's good to see that the fact that Somi got an opportunity to play left back, because for me Dialna is starting to annoy me slightly. I mean, he's a very high, he's getting paid a lot of money, and he is not really showing his worth for me at the moment. I think Brandon Boyd did have a good game. I wouldn't say it was his best game in a Revs shirt. He played the full match though. I think that goes to show that we've now seen Brandon Boyd play a full 90 minutes against LMLS opposition, and it did go to show that maybe he's not quite ready for a full game just yet. There was a few frailties in his positional play. His crossing was a little bit off as well when he did get forward. But he's still young. He's still got so much time to develop and learn these kind of things. But yeah, it was still a very good performance from Brandon Boyd, and I think he did show a lot of potential in the game. He was one of the better players of the game. I think the only player that kind of actually outshone him really was maybe for me anyway was Diego. It was good to see Brian Wright getting on the pitch as well. He came on in the 80th minute for Scott Caldwell, and I kind of wish sometimes they'd give him a little bit more time on the pitch, because I think it takes Brian a little bit of time to get going, but once he does get going, I think he does cause defences problems. He's fast. I think he's a completely different player to Teal, and I think if he just had a little bit more time to get into the swing of things, I think he could have been quite dangerous. On the kind of outlook, if you look at the game from afar, you'd probably say that Revolutions definitely did enough to, I would say, actually come away with 3 points. So the fact that we came away with none was ridiculous. I think this was for me the most disheartening performance, which off the back of the other one that disheartened me, is starting getting annoying now. And I can understand why fans are getting slightly annoyed with what's going on. But I have got to say though, so looking at the performance, we should have won the match. We didn't. We lost. I mean, we've got to take it sometimes. Sometimes that does happen in football. Sometimes it doesn't matter how good your team is. Sometimes, look at Germany in the World Cup, for example. Their team was, far superior to South Korea's team. And if you look at the stats, everything, they should have won that match. They didn't. They lost and they got knocked out of the World Cup because of it. So it does happen in all walks of football. But for me as a Revolution fan, the reason why this was so disheartening was because I've been banging on about it for quite some time now. But we don't have Brad seems to just want to play this one style of football, which is great. Don't get me wrong. I think he's got the philosophy and everything that he's trying to instill it's you know, it can work, and it's showcased that before that it can work and it will work. But you know, at times you've got to be able to change. We've got to have something behind that to say, okay, teams now know how. As soon as they see our lineup, they're going, okay, we know what we're going to get. We know what we're going to get. We don't, you know, it's not. And I know you want to kind of, you know, you don't want to change formation every game. And I'm not on about that. I'm on about during the match. If we've set up, we can start the game the same way we start every single game. It's then after 10 minutes thinking, okay, they know what we're doing here. We need to do something. So narrow the formation, just completely overrun them with midfield. We've got, you know, players who are creative, who can do it. So utilise them. Just really, you know, bring in the game against Minnesota. We're screaming for Rowe and Agudelo to squeeze right, you know, inside, and maybe, you know, almost play a 2 up top, 2 behind. So it's almost like a 4-2-2-2 formation, really narrow, with having Somi and Brandon Boy running on, because then you've still got Scotty Caldwell and Zahibo there or thereabouts. So if they do hits on the counter out, we're going to have 3 or 4 players at the back anyway. And yeah, it's starting to get on my nerves now, because it's and I don't want to kind of rant too much, because, you know, Brad has done such a good job, and, you know, I can see what he's trying to instill, and I can see what he's trying to go for, and I think, you know, no one is under this illusion that this season was going to be the season we're going to be we're going to win it. I don't think you can't ask. Surely there's no Revolution fans who thought as soon as Brad Friedel was announced as the manager, that's it, it's in the bag, it's ours. This was, for me, always a transition period. And I took this season as a just do better than what we did last season. That's all I kind of expected. And for me to now be sitting here and getting slightly annoyed is ridiculous, because we are doing better at the moment than what we were doing last season. And I still think we're going to finish above, maybe not league position wise, but goal difference wise and points wise. I think that, and whole footballing wise, I think we are going to finish still above where we need to be. But I think it's cool is because we're getting that glimmer of hope now, which then, you know, makes our expectations go higher, because we're starting to see some really, really nice football, and then all of a sudden we get taken down a peg again. And maybe rightfully so. Revs fans have got to remember, you know, this wasn't our season. This isn't our season. This isn't our season. It's not about this season. What we've got to make sure, and somebody posted this the other day about my podcast saying, when's the Craft Out episode going to come? And I'm trying not really to talk that side of the football team at the moment. Because obviously there's rumours, obviously the stadium leaked information and all that kind of stuff. We're not too sure what's going on with that one. But supposedly us and New York City FC are both getting our own stadiums to make sure that the MLS fulfills its promise and all that kind of stuff. Which, if it happens, great. That is really, really good. That's a massive step in the right direction for the Revs. But at the same time, I implored all Revolution fans to please just, you know, I've not really seen much out there at all, but please do not lose faith in what Brad's trying to do here. He is trying to do the best of what he can do. We all know what's going on behind the scenes isn't going to be the easiest for him to work with, but I do think he is the man to stand up to them. And I'm kind of hoping that if we get maybe 2 or 3 players in this transfer window now, and we push on, we get a playoff spot, and he can, because if you think about this, right, from the players he's brought in, bar maybe Somi, every one of them has suited his style of play and have performed very, very. I mean, look at Christian Pinilla, come out of nowhere. Casado, Wilfred Zahibo, players you'd not really heard of before, but now look at them. Household, you know, if you're naming a Revolution starting 11, they are in there. Matt Turner, who would have thought right at the start of the season? And be honest, who would have thought Matt Turner would have been New England's first choice goalkeeper? No one. I very much doubt there may have been 3 people out there that possibly thought, Matt Turner included, that may have thought that they're going to be number 1 for this season. Every single person probably was thinking it was going to be Connor. Every single person out there was probably thinking, you know, could be possibly Brad, but it's going to be Cody, isn't it? It's going to be Cody. It's but to be fair, obviously everyone kind of out there was thinking it's going to be Cody, isn't it? That's going to be the choice of goalkeeper. But Brad, being a goalkeeper himself, previous goalkeeper, obviously saw getting Matt Turner, and he's gone from strength to strength. So I think he has got the kind of, eye for a player. He's supposedly pulling strings now from, I don't know if it's BPL or where it is, but he's got connections in the footballing world. He's supposed to be utilising them to bring players in. There's still a talk of Bojan going on. I even seen somebody mention Fernando Torres, which I'm pretty certain Fernando Torres has gone now to somewhere in China. But yeah, we've just got to give him time. And as I said, if we bring in 1 or 2 players, maybe 3 players in this transfer, and if we can get them in, to just cement a playoff position for this season, I think that is job done for him. And then it's up to Brad and the whole backroom staff to really push the board then to really back us and give Brad what he needs to kind of take us to the next level, really. Because I think that's it now. I think that's all it takes, just them to unlock that, and then it's ours. And I think the Revolution could be one of the biggest franchises in MLS, which I know obviously I'm slightly biased, but other than that, yeah. I mean, what can I say against the game against Minnesota? I kind of feel I felt like doing a rant, and I feel a lot better actually for doing that rant on the game. Yeah, just when you look at the game, how did we not win? Well, I can tell you how we didn't win, because, and this is not anything towards Teal at all, but we do not have an out and out clinical goal scoring striker. We don't have one. Teal is the kind of person who plays off the striker. So you have. It reminds me a little bit, in a way, of Emile Heskey, and I don't know if many people know who Emile Heskey is, but he's an English striker who played for England for a good few years, played for Liverpool and Villa and countless other teams as well. Was never the best goal scorer, but the work he did off the ball was underestimated in my opinion. He was an unsung hero of a team. He did lots of things, dragging defenders out of the way, used his strength and his size to hold up the ball. Didn't score that many goals, but for what he did other than that, he was an absolute godsend, and he was the kind of player that the striker played off of. So you had somebody else who was the skillful, clinical striker, and I think that's what we need. Teal is that player, is that Emile Heskey of the Revolution, which I'm sure he'll be absolutely ecstatic about. So yeah, I think we just need an out-and-out striker. We need somebody to sort the defence out, and we just need a creative player on the right. And I think if we get those 3 jigsaw pieces into the squad, playoffs is ours, boys. Obviously, we've got a game now against New York coming up. As I said, obviously for the time difference, it's on a Sunday for me, which I think it's on a Saturday evening for you guys. Obviously, we're playing over at the Red Bull Arena. For me, this one's going to be a tough one. I mean, our record against New York Red Bull isn't the best. I think they've won the majority of the games. But saying that though, last time out we did beat them 2-1. So obviously we've got to take, something from that as well. They didn't know what to kind of expect from us. And I think we put in a really good performance in a hard-fought game. To be fair, obviously we came from behind. I think it was Bradley Wright Phillips scored very early on, around the 8th, 9th minute. I remember, and I think we struck back just before half time, and I think it was Teal who grabbed the winner in that one as well. So, if memory serves me right, but I remember it being a really, really tough game, and I remember thinking after that game, okay, this is the kind of step in the right direction. Beating a team of New York stature and putting in a good performance and a really hard work performance was massive step in the right direction for me. So that's obviously something we're going to take into this one. But other than that, before then, I think it was a while before we actually. I think it was 2016. Again, at Foxborough was the time before that we beat them, and I'm pretty certain they got a red card in that game as well, if my memory serves me right. I'm going to go for a draw in this one. I'm going to go for a New England draw. Or New England draw? Yeah, New England draw. I'm going to go for a draw in this one. I'm going to say it's going to be 2-2, 2 apiece. Well, I think it's going to be a tough game. Very, very tough game. But I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. Lineup for the game, I'm really unsure about this one. I don't know what I'll go with. I'm not too sure. I don't think Panilla's back, is he? Don't think Pinea. I can't remember if Pinea got 1 game or 2 game. Probably should have read up on this before I. I don't. To be fair, I don't think we'll see any surprises. I generally think it will be back to. Actually, no. I think Somi will start. So I think it will be Turner, Annie Barbar. Well, actually, no, it isn't going to be Annie Barbar because the last 2 games for me, not so good. Actually, let's just go. Not what I think will be the starting lineup. What I want. What I believe the starting lineup should be. So, okay, this is probably going to go against everything I've just said. Turner in goal, Somi at left back. Then I'm going to go for Delamaya and Andrew Farrell as the centre back partnership. Brandon Bry starting at right back again. We're then going to have Caicedo and Caldwell in the midfield. Agadello, Diego, Pinea if he's back. If not Pinea, then Nemeth. And then Teal up top, and Brian Wright on the bench, and give Brian Wright some more game time. Give Brian Wright some more game time. Hashtag it. Let's hashtag Wright more game time. Brian Wright more game time. We need to see more of Brian Wright. Anyway, guys, this one's gone on for a lot longer than my last few ones. I'm always untoo sure how long you guys like listening to me rambling on. So anyway, if you have enjoyed it and you've got this far in the podcast, then please just tweet me over on Twitter at AnyRevsUK. Just tweet me the word pizza or something to let me know that you've listened this far, and hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you have, and I don't know where you're listening to this on, make sure you drop a subscribe, a like, a comment, a 5-star review. I generally don't know where it's even on these days, but if you have enjoyed it, then please come back for the next one, which I don't know when it'll be, I'm not going to lie, but yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this one, guys. Have a nice weekend, and I will catch you all very, very soon.